Pete?
Pete Rock.
Hey.
Pete Rock.
So you're gonna I'm gonna give this to you so you can share like you did earlier. Oh, he's all in the recording studio. You showing off, Al. I love you though. Don't be mixing no beats while we live. That's
No, I'm like, I know. Literally, I'll tell you, I was up here, and then it got kind of hot up here. So I said, let me go get some fresh air.
So I think we are now live streaming on Facebook. Hi everyone, this is Mayor Sean Patterson Howard, and we are about to do a special live with some of our Mount Vernon legends and some authors and motivational speakers and our sister and partner from the Mount Vernon Neighborhood Health Center. We are asking right now if you could start a watch party and share this. We're going to wait until a few more people come on the live before we start, because we have a very important conversation that we want to have with our community. And we want to make sure that you and your friends are seeing this. So please, right now, take a moment and share this live. See, that's what I'm doing. I'm getting ready to share it. There you go. So hello, Mount Vernon and our surrounding areas. Priscilla just left. We are here tonight to talk about COVID and the impact of COVID on our communities. We're also here to talk about the census and the importance of census in our communities and what we need you to do. And then we're also here to have a conversation about the impact of COVID on our economy and the importance of us coming together to make sure that our communities revive economically, because oftentimes our urban communities are the hardest hit and they're the last ones to recover economically. So we're just going to have an open conversation. You can't hear us, Pete? I thought you were saying you couldn't hear. Tonight we have here with us our Chief Robert Odendo. He is our Chief of Fire Operations and our Incident Command for this incident. Also Robbo, formerly of I&I.
Bravo.
Bravo.
We also have Miss Judith Watson. If you could wave at him, Judith. And Judith is the Executive Director, the CEO of our Mount Vernon Neighborhood Health Center, which is an incredible health service provider here in the city of Mount Vernon and a great partner of the city of Mount Vernon. And so we're going to share some things tonight with her. We have Eddie Farrell, also known as Eddie F., who has been a producer, a DJ, a chief technology officer, and an incredible product of Mount Vernon. And he's here to kind of have this conversation. We also have with us Mr. Albert Brown, better known as Al B. Shore, award-winning singer, philanthropist, and someone who's worked in the community and given back, producer. We have Miss Jamila Davis. Wave to them, Jamila. Jamila Davis is a motivational speaker, an author. She is a social justice phenomenon, and she is doing incredible things, not just locally, but nationally, to advance our community. And then we also have Miss Priscilla Eshe, and Priscilla is a motivational speaker. She's an author.
Oh, okay, I'm here now.
Director of the Social Butterfly. Is that Pete? Can we get your picture back up on here, Pete?
Oh, wow. Let me
She's
see.
also the Social Butterfly, and she has a urban wear line, 914 Grind. She does a lot of work around urban wear, and so we thank you for Priscilla. And then we have here, we can't see his picture, it's coming through, we hear his voice.
But let me see if I can get the picture again.
Okay, so we're going to introduce you while we wait for your picture to come up. We also have here with us former Mount Vernon resident and, award-winning producer and music artist, Mr. Pete Rock. And he's still doing incredible work in the community. And so we are thankful that all of them are here with us tonight to talk about some important community issues. So everyone, thank you so much for coming on and agreeing to be a part of this show. We truly,
Thank you for
truly
having us.
appreciate you. Thank you. We appreciate you being here. And we just want to start. So, Mount Vernon, we received our latest numbers today. We are at 1,395 confirmed cases of COVID. We know that there are another 8,000 or almost 9,000 cases of COVID in Westchester where we don't have confirmed addresses. So since Mount Vernon has 10% of the known COVID addresses, we're going to assume that we also have 10% of those addresses that are not confirmed. And so if we look at that, then we have about another 850 to 900 cases, which puts us over 2,200 people who have been confirmed. And then we also know that there are a lot of people out there who have gone through this and who are going through it right now, who have never been tested, but have kind of suffered and recovered at home without a test. So we could potentially have 3,500, 4,000 cases. The amount is staggering, even if you just count the confirmed, numbers. So I want to start by letting the community know that as of tomorrow, we will have COVID testing here in the city of Mount Vernon. And I want to say a special thanks and give a great shout out to Miss Judith Watson, because Mount Vernon Neighborhood Health Center stepped up and worked with the state of New York and Mount
That's
Vernon
beautiful. Yeah.
to bring testing to Mount Vernon. We know a lot of the urban communities across the country have been hardest hit, but we don't have easy access to testing. So this is a win. We're a month into this pandemic, and we could say we're finally getting one, but we are glad that we are getting it, and we want to thank you as our partner. So can you tell us about the center and what the process is?
Thank you so much, Mayor. Thanks for having me on, and good evening, everyone out there and on the panel, esteemed panelists here today. Mount Vernon, I think it's preaching to the choir in terms of what we do at Mount Vernon Neighborhood Health Center. We're a one-stop shop for healthcare for everyone in the community, regardless of ability to pay, regardless of immigration status. And we've been doing it for over 40 years. And we do it very well, I might add. Yes. And I stand on the shoulders of giants, as you are well aware, Mayor. This COVID pandemic really hit the health center hard, right? So folks are home and home quarantine. We serve about 20,000 patients annually with about 80,000 visits. And 3/4 of those folks are not coming out to receive healthcare services. And even more, millions of people, right? Millions of people in the city of Mount Vernon and otherwise are just home. Folks are dying from COVID, having never been tested. And so this opportunity that we have to work with you, Mayor, and the governor's office and your fire department and your police department, and just to get this done, it's amazing. We are so, so very grateful and so very happy to be partnering with the city of Mount Vernon and getting our people tested for COVID tomorrow morning. So I'll talk a little bit more about it later, but I'll leave it there for now, Mayor.
All righty. So just so everyone knows that this is a walk-up center. It's not a walk-in, drop-in center. You must have an appointment. And we're going to give out the phone number for you to call and make appointments. But you have to have an appointment. But it is easily accessible. It is right in the heart of Mount Vernon. It's next to 4th Street Playground, across from Centennial Church, across from Centennial Homes, across from Levister Towers. It's right in the heart. Ebony Gardens is around the corner. And the bus stops get there. The taxi cabs get there. You could walk there. You could ride a bike there. It is accessible. And that is what we wanted to make sure, that we had a partner who knows the community, who's culturally competent, and who will be very welcoming of people who come to get the test. And we also
Mayor, that is key, what you just said, culturally competent.
Culturally competent.
That is so key, Mayor.
Right. You gotta have your head on straight.
Absolutely.
You have to.
And understand the true needs of our family. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. But who would ever thought, man? This is,
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I'd be remiss if I didn't take the opportunity to shout out the staff at Mount Vernon Neighborhood Health Center, our
Yes.
doctors and nurses and medical assistants and support staff who were there holding the place down. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
The
I mean,
front
people
line,
don't.
the first responders,
That's
it's
right.
truly a
Of
blessing.
course.
So we appreciate you. We
Yeah.
uplift you. We're walking with your flag, and thank you, truly thank you for truly keeping the community first and foremost. Thank you.
Thank you,
Yep.
sir.
Yep.
So I'm gonna jump over real quick to our Chief Odindo, who's serving as incident command for this. Chief, can you just kind of let us know what are some of the things we've done here quickly in Mount Vernon to really ramp up and address and deal with this issue?
All right, thank you, Madam Mayor. I appreciate it. And hello again to everyone on the panel. I will say I'm very proud of the fact that Mount Vernon has, to me, led the charge. If we think about when this incident or this pandemic, or actually started as just an epidemic started, we are one town away from New Rochelle, which was the initial epicenter of this pandemic. And really, I mean, when you talk about, ground zero for what was going on, this thing started literally a couple of miles away from the heart of Mount Vernon. But I say I'm proud because of the fact that I feel that the mayor specifically, but the city administration as a whole, very early on took the right steps. And one of the biggest steps that was taken was that they were communicating almost on a daily, sometimes bi-daily opportunity with the community, explaining, getting information out to the community. And at that time, when everything started, there wasn't a lot of information out there. It was a lot of misinformation, a lot of anxiety, a lot of mistrust. Just, in general, people just had no idea what to do. But I think the number one thing that we did as a city, and again, I have to applaud Mayor Patterson Howard for taking the lead on that. She was quick to get information out, to speak to the public. She had no qualms about being honest and transparent. And I think that initially was what has helped us manage this incident probably better than anything else that we've done.
That's dope.
Thank you for all of those compliments. I can't give you extra money or anything like that. I didn't pay him to say any of that stuff.
No.
Look, it's been a team effort from the beginning. It's
Absolutely.
been a team effort from the beginning. As communities of color, initially it was said, oh, you can't get it. We're protected by melanin. We didn't know of any Black and brown people that were being diagnosed.
So much misinformation.
Right, misinformation, and still, they're saying on the continent of Africa, they account for only 1% of the cases worldwide. And so that's where a lot of that kind of originated from. We had a president that said it wasn't real, it wasn't coming here, not to worry. So the federal government didn't ramp up. And we kind of had to figure it out on our own. And honestly, I think one of the challenges is that we started talking about it with the community almost too early.
So basically, no, you practice what's called preventative maintenance, and you jumped on top of it, prior to the conspiracy theories, and to keep the community safe, and at least be aware, and which is brilliant. So thank you.
Research.
No, I just say too early because in the initial stages, it's interesting. Come middle of March, when the governor started getting on TV, or the second week in March, people were saying, well, why isn't Mount Vernon dealing with it? Why haven't y'all said anything? We said, we've already produced about 15 different videos. We've had press conferences since, about the third week of February, where we've been talking about this. But the community, because the numbers hadn't come yet, no one was really paying attention. Very few people. That's why I'm saying we spoke about it really early. We were out there, we were way ahead of most of the conversations. And it was almost like background noise and background chatter until it really started to hit the community. And then people were like, well, what are y'all doing? We're like, we've been talking about this for weeks.
But I think being that this is such an unprecedented, phenomenon, something that I don't think that us being from the same generation, or our parents, maybe our great grandparents, I think the last time something of this nature occurred was that had this effect globally was, I think, 1919 with the Spanish flu. And so we haven't really seen anything. This is truly, it's been a movie. I mean, I still sit around and, especially
like we're
doing
thrusted into a movie. It's crazy. Contagion.
Yeah, exactly. But if you look,
Black Mirror mixed with Contagion.
Exactly. And if you look, Eddie, we talked about this earlier, how there are a few featured films now, like on the Netflix network and so forth, that is art imitating life and life imitating art now, that have this exact, the exact depiction of what's truly transpiring. And doing, syndicated radio has been a challenge, only from the standpoint because traditionally my forum is a, kind of the love songs, the quiet storm type of format, but I've had to now mix it with being informative and making sure I keep the country abreast of all the updates related to coronavirus, AKA, COVID-19. So it's been quite a challenge, but it's also been gratifying to me to be able to have a vehicle to give this information.
Well, it's that time
and
now.
just keep the people educated.
Spoken about, save lives now.
Absolutely. The more information, the better.
Sure. Yep. But the right information, because there's a lot of crap online.
Correct.
That's
yeah.
Sure.
But also, I think also, Mayor, I think it's also, and at this point, it's useless to go into the name game. I mean, the blame game thing. But for the most part, what happens is when it comes from the top and it's not taken seriously, obviously that spreads like wildfire. And I think that was the original connotation about, oh no, 2 weeks, we're going to open the borders, new baseball games, what happened, and it just kind of brushed it with a broad stroke, as opposed to really taking this truly seriously, as this is a serious worldwide pandemic. This is not New York. This is, even though I have a special affinity because New York raised me, Mount Vernon, but it's not. It's all over the globe. This is it's, as we said when we were growing up in the streets of Mount Vernon. It's real in the field. It's real.
It's real in the field.
Yes.
This is not a game. People really need to take it seriously. I mean, Mayor, are you finding that? And I call them, I don't even call it the citizens, I call it my family from Mount Vernon. Do you find the family practicing the social distancing, as relates to, just in the, being out in the streets and so on and so forth? And I mean, what are you seeing there in the community?
So I would say 85 to probably 90% of the people, for the most part, are really now stepping up and making an effort. You're always going to have those who don't believe, who don't think it can happen
it's a movie,
to them.
Yeah.
It's a movie.
Never make it.
This might sound crazy, but in the beginning, we saw people out there shooting dice. And we went out and like, don't you understand? It's COVID out here. This is serious. So the next day, we saw them shooting dice with blue gloves.
Hold on, Mayor. I love my family.
No mask.
I'm saying, but education, education helped. And now, they're kind of still out there and they're shooting a little dice, but they have on the blue gloves and a mask. That's progress.
Okay. It's called update your software.
Update your software.
And some people just can't take staying in the house, So
absolutely,
it's got to be outside.
That's true. That's true.
But be safe. Just be safe, man.
As you know, I mean, it's a very different environment right now. I mean, just imagine, and this is something that, like I said, talk about, on air about how, because it's such a very different time, outside of just updating on what the Center for Disease Control is, actually I have it on the website. I put it on albyshow.net, for my listeners, but I wanted people to also utilize this time because, listen, everybody here is busy doing life, busy. Everybody's paying their mortgage. They have a job. They have their dream that they're living. You're the mayor. That's Pete Rockwell. I mean, like Eddie, like everybody here, the administration that you have here. Everybody's so busy doing life. Now that we have 2 minutes to ourselves, I think it's really, really important to also incorporate. Part of our therapy is also getting to know yourself again.
That's right.
Take some time to get to know yourself. Just press reset, create a new plan for yourself. Don't just be scared.
Quarantine life is pretty pretty good. You know, at least for producers. You know, I believe.
You see where I'm living? I haven't left here. Like I literally
this is our life already. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna tell you something funny. I have not spent this much time in the studio since I was in Eddie F's basement in 1980. From like just from 80, 85, 84 to 90. Just like literally, I haven't left the keyboard. You know, this is the stuff he taught me to work and all that. So I was like,
Hey Rob, it's
Pete.
funny, man, because I made about 30 beats the other night, feeling like
hit me, kid.
Come on, you already know. You know, Pete.
I gotta
I'm still
get
waiting,
at you,
Pete.
bro. For real. You gotta hear some of this. You know?
Yeah.
So
I
we
wanna
know
chime
that
in.
Bravo is a lyrical genius, and we
Yeah,
need
of
to
course
see
he
some
is.
of that.
Come on, man.
We need to see.
He's written
Absolutely.
a lot of my verses.
I'm
You
the
know?
biggest fan. What, are you kidding me? Oh, come on, Robbo. What?
So we want to pull in our sister Jamila over here.
Yes, I wanted to chime in because it's interesting. You see how you guys talk from a creative standpoint, right? So when it's quiet time, you know what to do during quiet time. But the true fact of the matter is a lot of people don't know what to do during quiet time, right? So they're frantic. They're listening to a CNN or Fox all day, and they're playing the trauma over and over in their heads, and they don't have an outlet of release. It's just panic time for them, and a lot of people are almost like dying inside. So what I represent is like I have a program. I'm formerly incarcerated. I actually spent a 12.5-year sentence in federal prison, right? And during that time, I actually went back to school. I got my associates, my bachelor's, my master's. I started working on my PhD. I've written
Beautiful, sis.
7 books,
Love
right? But what
That's
that
fantastic.
time behind bars did is shifted my mindset, right? And it taught me how to survive. But more importantly, it taught me what's most important in life, right? So a lot of times we in the street, we just racing, we chasing money, we're chasing accolades. But when an epidemic like this hits, it really positions us to see what counts most, right? So life isn't promised to us, so we've got to shift gears, right? So bringing me back to home, what I do now is I'm in schools throughout the tri-state area, and we provide programming. My partner is Yandy Smith, and one of the main
I know Yandy.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So one of the major problems we're having right now is with students, right? So we've been talking on the health standpoint, which is really important. A lot of important immediate things, but now it's the long-term effects that I'm very concerned about. And one of which is the education of our youth, right? So we have a lot of youth now that are forced to do school through remote learning. And in many instances, especially in marginalized communities, some of them don't have cable.
Don't have access, internet access, right.
From school. Some of them don't have family support to actually make them go on. So I'm speaking to some of we deal with over 30 principals, and some places only 20% of the children are actually logging on, right?
Wow.
So in marginalized communities, that's where we're going to take a major hit because some of our kids are already behind, right? So this is almost a half of a whole, semester
year
that they're now going to be out, So I kind of wanted to come on with you guys and kind of talk about this because we're kind of joining forces with folks to help motivate our students to push through, especially seniors. Imagine,
sister, what you said is so significant. Like what you said is so significant. Like first and foremost, it's already difficult enough. First of all, I want to first of all applaud you for, utilizing your time to make sure that you immerse yourself with these children in the community. Number two, first of all, I want to applaud the teachers first and foremost, because when I look at it, when we were coming up, Peter and Eddie and everybody, we didn't have, the internet and so on and so forth. So imagine these teachers having to engage a child for 45 minutes without Facebook or Snap Face or whatever, like just so that's difficult enough as it is. And then, now all of a sudden, when the bottom drops out here, now they're having to become acclimated to a whole new way of life where let's say that they were getting some progress going on and things are going, like I feel bad. I mean, I don't want to skip topics, but like I feel bad right now for the class of 2020. No prom,
graduation, prom.
just the normal kid stuff, just the
The
normal
rites
kid,
of
stuff that
passage
young
that we
people,
experience.
Yes.
Right.
yeah. And
So
I think so.
All the things that we took for granted.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
And Mayor, what year did you graduate again?
I think I graduated with you, Mr. Brown.
With me, right? That's
Yes, sir.
no, but the
You
reason I was saying
graduated with
that,
me.
That was
yeah,
the
yeah,
year.
with
He
you.
graduated
before
with
me.
you, right?
I know that's what I'm saying. No, and the reason I said it because like we even had experiences, Mayor, we had experiences where we had an opportunity to go to the prom on top of the World Trade Center.
Yes.
I mean, on Windows on the World.
Yes.
Remember, come on, like
Fabulous.
things of that nature. Just
Oh, we were top
the
shelf. We
memories.
didn't do anything
come on, stop
halfway.
playing.
Come on,
Come on,
86.
with the watch.
You know, no green tree.
Stop playing.
No.
Manhattan.
But I'm saying that to say, we just had all of these amazing experiences that have now taken, come to a halt for the population. And these kids, so I don't necessarily want to just harp on feeling bad about it, but it's just like, man, I'm like, I wish these kids could experience, even just the prom or finishing the year out in education.
Hold that thought, because what we're gonna do is use the power of technology, right? So we also now we got Mona Scott Young is gonna join forces with us. We're kind of putting together a whole big event for kids graduating, right? For kids going to the prom, and it'll be like a virtual gathering where they'll have their favorite celebrities be able to pop in, say something. We can't give them the experience that you guys had or that I had, but at least acknowledge them and let them know that they are loved and we do see their pain too in this time.
But they might be able to get.
They're used to the way you would like.
What you said.
What you just said because
they're like this in the club. They in the club dancing in their phones anyhow. So they can
like
do that now.
Third arm,
No different.
Oh man, that's beautiful. Right. That's good. That's good.
But I mean, that's important. So we're seeing people do birthday party. They're doing motorcade drive-bys.
They're doing
showers.
happy hour.
Yeah, all time.
We're happy hour.
Sipping Zooms, conversations. And so all of those things are happening. And we just have to find creative ways. But Jamila, yes, you spoke about the education of our youth and the challenge, them not being in school, 20% logging on. That's big. That's major. That's a real concern. You've talked about them not graduating or walking and participating in that. Can you mute your phone? Can you mute if okay, if you're not speaking, yes, thank you. So they're not, and then the other thing that we're looking at right now, summer camp, or summer camp's going to happen, summer youth employment programs. There are a lot of families that depend on summer youth employment and summer camps and things of that nature whenever communities reopen. We have to understand that COVID is not going away.
Right.
It's going to be out here. There is no vaccine from it right now. So maybe the pandemic and the contagion level might decrease, but it's still going to be out here. And so that's going to make people hesitant to come out to big venues and participate in a lot of the social activities. We've talked about social distancing for so long, and then we're going to tell people, oh, come out to a basketball game or a concert. That's not going to happen. I'm not interested in being around any major crowds. Right? I don't care how much I like you. I'm not paranoid, but I don't want to be around a lot of big crowds.
Mayor, I want to ask you a question. Mayor, what do you think in terms of and you can decline it because it's really the question is the current administration has been talking about actually giving a definitive forecast related to kind of reopening life. What do you feel about that as it relates to, are you feel safe in giving a date or a time period to say, okay, thank you.
No,
okay, I thought it was just me.
We are still trying to manage this pandemic in our community. We are opening a testing center tomorrow. So opening a testing center indicates to us and says that this is still here. If we felt that this was ending in Mount Vernon, New York, or anywhere else, we wouldn't be opening a testing center. but we know that this is going to be around with us for a minute. We know that we're going to have to test people. We
Something that
know
needs to be
that
managed for,
that's going to have to
absolutely.
be managed. I'm talking with our county executive and other community leaders 3 days a week about fatality management. Where are we going to put all the bodies? This is real.
That's
I spend
crazy.
Right.
3 to 4 hours a
Right.
week on the telephone with leaders throughout the county, and the conversation is, do we need more refrigerated trucks behind these hospitals, morgues, funeral homes,
My God.
because so many people are dying. We've never seen deaths at
Something
this
like this.
level.
It's
There,
a
there are people saying
biochemical.
I'm doing 20, bodies a month or at a busy funeral home. And now they're sitting there trying to manage 20, 30 families a week. It's ridiculous, or even more than that. So we're talking about fatality management. We're talking about where to put bodies. People's funerals are being planned three weeks out. And that's not because
Mm-mm.
families coming from the Caribbean. It's because the funeral homes are so busy that they can't even schedule you right now. That's very real. We're talking about the fact that we're not seeing clusters in the neighborhoods that have been hit hardest, and that's because we know that testing has not been available. And so we'll begin to see how this is impacting other parts of our community. We know that our economy is being devastated. I'm looking at the comments, and someone is saying, what can I do? I don't know if I'm going to be able to pay my rent.
Right.
So there is a moratorium on evictions until
Mm.
June 20th. So we've been really encouraging people who have lost their jobs or who have been have reduced hours to go online and apply for unemployment. And they're also giving like a $600 bonus for business owners who don't want to lay off their employees. There's a payroll loan that is out there, and if you keep your employees on, the government is
Mhm.
going to work to give you this loan, and they'll actually forgive the repayment of the loan. So some people are saying, well, it's a loan. Well, it's a loan, it's a grant, it's a loan. But they're
Right.
saying that, the terms are they will forgive the loan down the line so that your business is not hurt. And then there are disaster loans that can be applied for. And it's important that we get this information out to our small businesses, our mom and pop shops, and
Yeah.
our minority businesses, because they are hardest hit. And people don't realize that small business owners and entrepreneurs make up more than 50% of our workforce, and not-for-profit
Absolutely.
organizations. So we
Right.
have to make a real plan and get the information out about economic recovery.
Mayor,
But
do you actually have a maybe a landing page with a list of what you just mentioned that people can have some sort of resource that they can go to and find, some sort of just aggregated place where, like, oh man, I have this issue, I have that, at least something with, hey, you got the unemployment, you got the, business owner, you got just somewhere where people can just go and have a safe haven to say, okay, look, here's where I can find an answer, and then it's up to them to follow through.
yes,
Right.
on www.cmvny.com, which is City of Mount Vernon, New York.com, www.cmvny.com. That is our city's webpage and
Okay.
website. And we have a special banner link for COVID-19. And if you click onto that link, you're going to find opportunities for testing, information about employment. I don't know why I'm
It sounds like
that
somebody's
better?
feeding back.
Yeah, it was feeding back information about economic development and loan and financial opportunities. So all of those
Yeah, that
things
sounds much
Fantastic.
better.
are right there
Fantastic.
in that one location. We also have them on our social media pages, and we put out flyers and graphics for those people who are more social media savvy than they
Right.
are going on to websites.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you for that information.
So I
Thank
want to
thank
pull
you,
in,
Sean.
if we can pull in Priscilla, our social
Yes, ma'am.
butterfly. Priscilla has been out in the
Hello.
community giving out masks and going to our different businesses and trying to make sure that our small businesses and our corner store bodegas have personal
Absolutely.
protective equipment to keep them safe, but
Yes.
also to keep the community safe. Because if our small business owners and our bodega owners get COVID, they can pass it on to the people who
Sure.
come and use their stores before they even realize that they're positive. So talk to
Absolutely.
us about who you are and some of what you're doing, Priscilla.
Sure. Well, I Absolutely. I'm a consultant. I work a lot with urban wear, a soon-to-be author, and I am thankful to be in the room amongst such esteemed colleagues. And thank you
Hello,
for having
Priscilla.
me.
Hey,
Yeah,
Priscilla, how are you? Thank
Hello.
you so much.
wonderful. I actually also wanted to touch on the mental health aspect of everything that's going on. A lot of people don't know what to do. We have anxiety, we're dealing with depression. And also, you know, I want to circle back around to the bodegas and stuff, but it was really on my heart about the mental health aspect and how people can lean on their spirituality to get them through that, Mayor. And you're a woman of God and of faith, and I wanted to know, do you have any resources for people who are seeking help during this time for the mental health aspect of it, dealing with anxiety, the depression of losing a job, and, you know, going through all the issues of what's happening with COVID?
So
And I'll definitely
definitely
circle back.
one of the things we've been doing here in the city of Mount Vernon and throughout the state, the New York State Office of Alcohol and Substance Abuse Services, they're providing online supports. The New York State Office of Mental Health, as well as the Westchester County Department of Community Mental Health, and some of our local service providers, they're doing online Zooms and online connections just to check in or do mental health check-ins. There are call-in numbers, and all of this is on our website. All of this is on the City of Mount Vernon and the County of Westchester and the State of New York website, where people can go on and find the links for mental health counseling, emotional supports, substance abuse counseling. A lot of people are really missing going to their NA and AA groups. So I know a lot of the NA and AA groups are having Zoom meetings, just like we're having right now, to allow people to continue to connect. They're doing mental health therapy sessions online so that people can connect. Our Office of the Aging and our Recreation Department, we're calling our seniors every day just to check in and do a mental health check-in, a wellness check-in, to make sure people's mental and emotional health is okay. I mean, my own mother, she said she's very frustrated. She's been in the house now for a month. I mean, you're talking about being put on lockdown. We put her on lock. We put you better not come out the house.
Right.
Don't think about it. Don't, you know, I mean, my mother has MS and she's a polio survivor and a cancer survivor. We don't want this to hit her.
So
We
she's
know
full of
if
life.
you
Yeah,
have,
she's ready to
you
go.
know, right, vulnerable
Yeah.
immune systems, you can't do it. And so
Right.
we're just starting to talk to her about giving her a mask and the gloves and taking her for a ride up near some water just so she can kind of get out and smell the fresh air. She has a terrace, so she can go outside a little bit like that. But we're taking care of, you know, getting things for them and bringing it to them. But mental health is a major concern right now.
Yeah, yeah. Because
Yeah,
a lot of people out here think that people are okay and they're really not.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I'm
Mentally.
glad that Priscilla touched on that whole mental health piece, because it's so important. Like, we talk about statistics and facts, but really it's survival. And you said something that was key. You said if we are opening up testing sites, that means that right now this is not, gonna.
It's not over.
So with that fact, you got to learn when it's time to settle in. I told you guys that I was formerly incarcerated, right? When you first get locked up, right, you think you're gonna go, so you try to leave out quickly, and as quickly as you can. But then when reality sets in that you're gonna be here, or you may be here for a while, your mindset changes, right? And I feel like it's important that we change our mindsets to figure out how we can make the best of this time. So I love what you guys talked about, like making beats and doing different things like that. So people in the world, now we got to tap into our skill sets. God has gifted us with many different talents. We can get streams of incomes from different places. In fact, Uber and some of the great companies that were built during times of recession. So I think it's important for people to tap within and figure out how you can generate legitimately other streams of income. What can you do to pass your time to be productive? And I think it's those things that are going to be what sustains people's mental health during times like this.
So one of the things that we were doing right before this pandemic really hit is the city of Mount Vernon was offering a free program for people who wanted to start their own businesses or who were already entrepreneurs, but needed to take their game and their business to the next level. So we were working with people to get their minority women business enterprise certification, to develop their business plans, to learn how to gain access to capital, because anyone starting a business, you have to have access to finances and financial lenders. We wanted to make sure that they understood how to use social media and different multimedia platforms to promote their businesses. And so, you know, since we've had to interrupt this, we might have to look at taking this type of program and going online,
Yes,
so that we
ma'am,
can
that's the
restart.
key.
Yeah, so a lot of things that we've done face to face, they've done concierge therapy and counseling online for years. We see the telehealth, where you're visiting the doctor online, and there's telehealth and telemedicine. So there's a lot of opportunities and a lot of new platforms coming online to do things. And because social distancing is not going to stop.
Sure.
Look, D Nice is getting millions of people
Yes.
on Club Quarantine, and
Right.
and you know, you have DJ battles and producer battles on Instagram every Saturday night. You know where I'm right, I'm there for it.
Hey, nobody want no
You have
smoke
Teddy
with me.
Riley and Baby King this Saturday. I'm gonna be
Nobody
there.
want no smoke with. Hey, nobody want no smoke with the Mount Vernon producer, man. I'm telling
Come
you.
on. Listen, I second that notion.
Well,
know
I'm
what
gonna
I'm saying?
tell you, Pete, I have my DJ app on my Apple iPad.
That's what's up.
To get it in, I'm
It's
gonna battle
gonna be
Jazzy
on.
Joyce.
Oh yeah, you already know. And when I'm on IG Live, everyone's gonna know. So we're gonna do a flyer and all of that. So.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let us know.
Please,
We'll definitely
please send
promote
me
it.
a text. Let me know. I'm
Oh
down.
yeah,
I
all
want
of
to
y'all
know.
gonna get a shout out. Getting a shout
So
out.
we have about 15 minutes left, and I just want to switch topics for a second, and we're going to come back to COVID. Malcolm, well, real quick, Malcolm, can you share the flyer for the testing site that's happening tomorrow? If you could just put that up on the screen for us really quickly, so people can see the flyer. So this is the COVID testing site that we have opening tomorrow at the Neighborhood Health Center. It'll be open Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. It is by appointment only, appointment only. And I'm gonna say it one more time for those in the back, by appointment only. And I say that with love, because we don't want you to walk across town and be disappointed because you can't be tested, because it is, again, by appointment only. And so don't call the health center to make an appointment. You have to call the state testing hotline, which is 1-888-364-3065, 1-888-364-3065. And we're gonna put this information under the comments so that people can get it. The health center is at 107 West 4th Street in Mount Vernon. It is a landmark. It's been there for a long time, and it'll be easy to find. Over 40 years in that location. So please make sure you go out and get it. Malcolm, we're gonna switch gears. So if you could take that down. The census right now, the census is critical. 800 billion, okay? Billion with a B, not million, billion. $800 billion a year is given out by the federal government and sent down to states and counties and cities for funding of road repair, schools, medical services, mental health services, reentry programs, youth and senior programs, hunger elimination programs, police departments, fire departments, capital repairs in communities, everything, every type of social program and federal funding opportunity is connected to a community census number. And I can tell you in 2010, Mount Vernon was undercounted by over 30%. It shows that we have about 68,000 to 70,000 residents in Mount Vernon, and we are confident, and the chief can tell you based on all of the illegal housing, rooming houses we find, and you know, 2-family houses that are more like 4 and 5 family houses with people living in attics and basements. Mount Vernon has a lot of big old homes, and people chop them up, and multi-generations of families are living all throughout our community. So we're estimating our numbers to be at closer to 100 to 105,000. Each person that we miss counting we lose between $2,500 and $2,750 in possible funding a year. So between 80 and $83 million of funding opportunities we will miss a year over the next 10 years for $800 million if we do not make sure that we count everyone. This is not just for citizens. It's not just for voters. It's not just for resident aliens. If you live in Mount Vernon, if you've lived here for one day, if you just came over, then we need to count you. It's kind of like inviting people over the house and saying, and I got this from Marcus, he said it. He said, if you're having a party and someone says they're bringing 10 people and you prepare for those 10 people and they show up with 20, 25, then what are you going to do? And that's what's happening. We are counting only 70,000 people, but we have to serve 100,000, 105,000 people. And so we have to stretch money all the time. So we need people to fill out the census. No one's going to use the information to deport you. No one's going to use the information to come after you or anything of that nature. And for those people who were formerly incarcerated and were counted the last time wherever you were incarcerated, and now that you're home in your community, we need you to be counted here so that we can fund the type of services that you need to reintegrate fully back into society. And
Mayor, excuse me for interrupting. You said something so significant just now. And I'm going to tell you, from the community where we come from, we grew up, what you said is probably the biggest issue of them all, because I know, growing up, I kind of ran around and did, a few things and so on and so forth. So a lot of people are afraid to be a part of this, even though it's a necessity for the community and for your budget to be able to get that money. How do is there, and maybe I'm just going off to the left with it, but is there a way to, how when they do the guns program where let's say, look, if you come turn in your gun, we got to figure something out where people can still be counted, where they know they're not, because if they go up and you got a warrant, you got something, whatever you may have, folks is not going to just, we know what this is, and so sometimes, and that's a lot of people in the community, because a lot of times, coming up as a shorty, I'm working on the life story, so I can tell it all anyway. So Eddie, I'm running around the community, doing X, Y, Z. I'm just trying to help my mother pay the rent, do whatever, a little studio apartment on Kingsbridge Road, So, but at the end of the day, but I'm not condoning that. So young people, don't you do it. But what I'm saying is,
I hear what you're saying, Al.
But I know
what you're saying. But it's the people who need the services the most, that are least likely to fill out the census, and then they're going to be the ones screaming, y'all ain't doing nothing for us. What are y'all doing? We need you to fill out the census. If you don't fill out the census, we can't get the money for the programs to serve you. And so this is serious. It takes 10 minutes. It takes 10 minutes. You can do it online at www.mycensus2020.gov. You can call, oh my goodness, I knew it by heart, 1-844-330-2020. I had to remember it, 1-844-330-2020. And you can answer the census online, on the phone with a representative from 7 a.m. to 2 a.m. That's 19 hours a day. You have plenty of time, 19 hours a day, to take 10 minutes and someone will complete it for you over the phone. I want to pull in Eddie, because Eddie, you're doing what you always do. Sit back in the cut and remain quiet. Unless you want to say,
I'm just listening.
So I need to bring you in here for a second, Eddie, and tell us why it's important to complete the census, and what are some of the things and needs that you see in our communities that we can get potentially by getting more money for funding.
I think the first thing, what Al was getting at, we got to find a way for people to be able to be comfortable and know that they can do this anonymously. And I think a lot of times it's talked about, but it may help. We may have to have a workshop or something, or maybe a webinar where we actually go through it and show people, go through the process, because you just have a lot of non-believers. I mean, you know, and I know we're talking about the census right now, but even with COVID and the census, you know, there's a lot of people not getting the information or not knowing what to believe. There's so much out here. I mean, right now,
so confusing.
Right now, our world is like a giant reality show. So people, you know, whatever's the last thing you hear, the last thing you see, whatever the hype is, you know, I think we need somebody, or we need a group of people, or we need some sort of platform to show people, and we need this information to get out here. We need to take people step by step what they need to do, because it's easy to say, hey, it takes 10 minutes, it takes 20 minutes, but a lot of people, they're just not going to do it unless we either motivate them to do it, or provide a platform and a way to show them how to do it, or even, you know, let them connect the dots and say, this is what happens when you do this. And I just want to bring it back to COVID for a second. I've been watching this. I was one of the early people. I was one of the crazy people where people were looking at me, you know.
Eddie, you're always one of the early people, Eddie.
I was buying, you know, I was buying supplies and things. Actually, you know what? As a matter of fact, my little brother, he's bigger than me. My little big brother.
Yeah, he's bigger
Eric,
than you, bro.
Yeah, I think he's 6'5". He called me and gave me a heads up a little bit beforehand. Actually, one of the producers, one of the Untouchables producers, I think his son actually worked at the CDC in Atlanta. He said, hey, you know, this thing is coming. People are not taking it seriously. And I just started watching. And I think some of the problem that we have now, we're talking about reopening businesses, reopening. There's a fire burning, and we're in the fire, but the fire hasn't been put out yet. And the reason it hasn't been put out is because we don't know how to put it out. We don't even know where it is. We don't even know. We don't have enough tests. Right. And so we have I think we have an issue here where we're going to have to really kind of walk people through all of these steps. And maybe, I don't know if there's a way, maybe we can do both at the same time. Maybe we can figure out the COVID and the testing and do the census at the same time. I'm not sure. You know, I don't know what because we have a real issue here.
Eddie, what you just said is maybe just let's find a road where they can trust. Because what happens is with all this misinformation and all this, the 10 different versions, and then you got 45, you know, everything's going to be fine next week, and we're going to open up everything, and you know, you're going to go back to work. So all these misnomers.
He shouldn't be doing that.
Right. But what I like about Mount Vernon is that we've always been progressive. Mount Vernon has always been progressive. We've always and you know, I think that we can pool our resources, and you know, even if it's, you know, combination of people right now that are on this webinar and others, you know, we need to figure out how to get this information out to the community. I mean, I'm right now, I'm in Houston, Texas. I've been based in Houston for a little while, but I'm watching every day. I'm watching my timeline. I'm watching my Facebook, and I'm watching people that I grew up with, people that I know, people that are close friends, family members, people getting sick, people, you know, and I'm saying that because people in Houston, yes, Houston is on stay at home, but I think they don't even realize the full seriousness. And I'm telling people even here, I'm saying, this is my timeline. These are my friends. These are people that I know, and this is happening. And so the way that this virus is traveling, people are not taking it as seriously until it really hits them, like at home, until it's somebody close to them, until it's a family member. And I think we have to really get in front of people and show them this information. And then we're going to have an issue when people need to come back outside, social distancing. From what I hear in China,
But
you can't come outside without a mask. You have to have a mask.
But Eddie,
mandatory.
How about this part too? Like, and I hate to be so candid, but I'm going to have to be candid. Maybe there needs to be a photo of our mayor, walking some of these bodies into a funeral home. I mean, I don't know what I'm trying to be sensitive about it, but I can't be, because it's either it's real in the field. So the simple fact that our mayor has to figure out, how do we fit all of these people into this funeral home, and then you can't even have a funeral, so I can't even come see you. You died. You're my brother. You're my sister. I can't even come and see you because we can't have a funeral with a gathering. So, but guess what? The bodies are still here. So, how much more real can we make it at this point?
And it's hard. And I mean, I don't think there are many people here left in Mount Vernon that can't say that they don't know someone who's been positive, who's going through symptoms, or someone who's died. And we just have to keep it real. And I spoke to one of our staff, and I won't say yet because he's going to come on next week. And I saw him on March 27th, and I was like, where's your mask? And I was at his place of work. Where's your mask? Where's this? I ain't worrying about that. I'm healthy. I'm good. I live. I'm brolic. And I spoke to him yesterday, and it was a different person because for like 11, 12 days, they'd been hit with this and very sick, and said, I wish I would have known then what I know now. But I thank God that I'm alive to tell this story. And that's why they want to come on and talk and just let the people know, just because you're young and you are in good shape and good health doesn't mean that this cannot hit you. He's come through it with his life, but it was definitely a humbling experience. He said a terrifying experience and a life-changing experience. And some things we want to learn through trial and error. And there's some things that you want to be able to just sit back and learn through watching. And this is not one that I went through trial and error. Eddie, you got to unmute. Yeah.
Oh, okay. What you just said is, I think if we don't take anything else from this about COVID, we need to err on the side of caution, because there's so much misinformation. And just what I mean by that is, people need to not let their guards down in terms of social distancing, in terms of washing their hands, in terms of, because the reality is we really don't know. We don't have enough tests. We don't have enough of everything yet to know where this thing is traveling, how it's traveling. Every day I see something different. It's first it wasn't airborne, then it was airborne, then it's traveling on shoes, and now first you didn't need masks, then yes, you need masks. So what my message to anybody that's watching this is to just err on the side of caution and be more cautious, because by the time or by the time you have it, it's too late. And it has such a long incubation period, anywhere from a week to 14 days, that, and that's what makes it so dangerous. It's like being on fire for a week and not knowing, because you don't feel anything. And then all of a sudden one day it hits you. And that's what makes this so dangerous. And that's what I'm really most concerned about. Everybody wants to get outside, and everybody wants to, one thing I will say, and there was a time where nobody had enough time. Everybody was behind on everything. Everybody, if I had more hours. So I think this can be a time to actually, do one of those projects that you never got a chance to do, that you never had time to put together, or learn, or maybe go online. And there's a lot of free courses online. A lot of colleges have free courses, a lot of free courses on YouTube. There's a lot of information, because that's the other thing. There can be a positive side of coming out of this, where, some people, I think people that put the time in and try and use the time to either build up the skill or take care of some things that they never had time to take care of, then they may have an advantage when we're coming out of this, to say, okay, I'm ready. It's almost like training, whether it's training your mind or training in the gym or whatever it is. It's like being ready so that when we do get to the other side of this, what's your plan gonna be? And there's a lot of negative out here. There's a lot of information, a lot of bad things that are happening. But also, I think if we try to look at this and what can I do to build something with this time? What can I do to learn something with this time? What can I do to, try and utilize this time to maybe organize myself or organize some things that I didn't have time to before? I think that can be key. And that can also help people from kind of like bouncing off the walls and just, wanting to just be outside, because we need that too.
I just wanted to say, I just filled out my census form while I was sitting here on this conversation with you guys. Nice. So you inspired me, because a lot of times we talk the talk, but we don't walk. So as I sat here, it took me approximately 10 minutes not even 10 minutes to fill it out. Now I can, they ask you for some information that you might be a little questionable about, which is just the date of births of folks that's in your household. But it's for a good cause. So now we doing things over here the right way. So I don't got to run or hide. So I'm able to put the date of birth and the information. So I'm happy about that. But I wanted to say to somebody out there, like, if you got nothing else out of this Facebook conversation, if you have not filled out your census form, I filled out mine. So I'm just not talking you to death. You should fill out yours too.
Fill out your census form.
Wait, Mayor, I have one question, Mayor. I wanted to ask you a question. So, can I still fill out the census?
Yes, you can. You can go online. My census 2020.
Because my heart, I'm Mount Vernon for life. So it is what it is.
We don't have to talk about this on this forum, but we can make arrangements.
Every
I have an extra room in my house
continent,
you could claim.
Yes, but guess what? I will pay rent, my portion of rent, because I, no matter where I'm at on planet Earth, I've been to, it's almost 6 continents now, and every single continent, all I talk about is Mount Vernon. And Mayor, you're gonna be happy about this. I meet somebody from Mount Vernon.
Yes. What?
Yo,
everywhere.
What?
Everywhere.
You
Mayor,
cannot creep or do
everywhere.
anything crazy.
Listen,
traveling, because Mount Vernon people are everywhere.
I've been in Croatia. I've been in Chicago, Croatia, Germany. I've been in London. Yo, let me tell you something. Yo, you know I'm from Mount Vernon, right? I'm like, Let me see. But it's a beautiful thing. But
it's the biggest small town in the world.
We are 4 square miles of international flavor on every level, intellect, gravity, everything. It's like I'm so proud. I'm so proud to be from Mount. Like everybody knows. Listen, I will always say this though. Heavy D is the king of Mount Vernon.
Absolutely.
I'm the ambassador. Eddie Epson ambassador. We're just all ambassadors. It's Heavy D. Listen, I know we got Denzel, we got Evie White, we got Art Carney, we got all this, but Heavy D is the king of Mount Vernon.
Always.
And we are all the ambassadors. We are all the ambassadors who send love and light, and just know. I let everybody know wherever I'm at. I do syndicated radio all over. I was at iHeart for 17 years. 170 countries on ABC every night. I'm talking about Mount Vernon, and it is what it is, because that's where my physical body could be in Vegas, because I'm a little older now, so I need some, to do yoga here. But guess what? My heart and my life is Mount Vernon, and I'm gonna tell everybody all day, every day.
We need to put you on a commercial for the city, because that right.
Well, so after
that's easy.
Let's do the PSA, and I'm sold.
After we get Miss Watson in, I'm going to give everyone some. There always has to be an ask at the end of it, so I want to pull in Miss Watson again.
That's easy,
because she has a comment.
That was my next question.
We're going to wrap this up with some asks and some opportunities to participate further and help us push this engine forward, because that's what we said. We asked people when we ran to believe again. And then when we ran in the general election, we said it's time for us to move Mount Vernon #forward together. And so this is not about me. This is about us. And I can't do it without you. And more hands make light work. And if we all come in and do it together.
Mayor, can I fan it? Can I fan out for 2 minutes? Okay, I got to tell a quick 3-second story because I know we only have a very little amount of time. But I gotta have a confession. I think I did cheat off your math paper or your science paper at one time looking over because I knew you were the smartest girl in the class. Okay, I didn't say that. I didn't say that because I know you sat either in front of me or next, and I know I was like just looking at your paper because you were the smartest, girl in the class, and I was like, so I just had to tell you that, and thank you because I passed. But then I had to learn it. I had to learn it for myself. So I just want to say thank you, Mayor.
That must have been like early in like 7th, 8th, 9th grade, because by 10th grade I was cutting.
No, listen, because you were trying to experience life. You were trying to figure out.
That's why, being mayor is not a platform for me to show how perfect I was, because I wasn't perfect. Being mayor gives me a platform to be honest. There are so many people who say they admire me. I don't want people to just admire me. I want people to know that they can be me because they are me, because me is imperfect.
They got to know where we came from.
Polished as we look when we come out in public. Me cries in the background. Me tries to figure it out. Me struggles with self-esteem and confidence. Me has to get myself up. And after I finish crying, I have people who say, okay, now boss up and get out there, spin, twirl, and do what you got to do. Yes. And so all of us struggle with our confidence and things that we work on our competence. We work on our credentials, and all of us struggle to one degree or another with our confidence. And so what you see on the outside is not always who a person is before they walk through the door. You walk through the door, you might have just finished crying. You might have just finished praying. You might have just finished having a conversation with someone who was getting you up for the game. And so, I'm always keep it a buck. And we have to be honest and real about who we are, so that the people who are admiring us don't sit there and admire us to the point that their self-esteem is challenged and that they fall off and they don't do things, but they understand that we're not perfect and that we have to grow into our shoes or grow into our hat and step up and get ready to do the daggone thing. So Ms. Watson, if you could take yourself off mute.
Mayor, that's our 4 square miles right there, Mayor. And it is what it is. And this is what we did. Like, the whole point was, I want the young people, if anybody, any of this millennial generation who's watching our amazing mayor that I did cheat off a science paper, I'm gonna be honest with you. But whatever the case was, but I'm gonna tell you like this, we failed.
Yes.
That's what made us win. Learning to fail. And it's not about how many times you fail, it's how many times you get your silly self up.
Yes.
And then continue and then say, wow, because I learned from that. Because you know what? It hurts so bad to do what I just did. I don't want to do that again. That's just like, I learned that from just being around. I've seen people like Michael Jackson and being around like Eddie. Eddie, Michael too. Same thing. I didn't win this. I didn't do this. And then all of a sudden, or being around Michael Jordan, when you lose something, or being around LeBron James, you lose something, you go, it hurts so much that you're like, I don't want to do that anymore. And then all of a sudden you realize, okay, now it's time to win. So it's the same mentality of Mount Vernon. We are winners. Mount Vernon's bloodstream and our water is just about winners, but winners who are encouraging of our community. And we're going to be encouraging our community, but we take L's too. Like, we don't talk about the L's a lot, but guess what? We take L's. And then what we do is we convert the L's to W's. But it's a process. Just because you see Beyonce on the stage later, believe me, she didn't have a #1 record all the time. She fell off the stage. She tripped. She did this. She didn't. But at the end of the day, then there was Heavy D and the boys. What? What?
And Al, and we're gonna pull you in here, Judith. But Al, I'm gonna say this to you. I mean, girl, it's hard sitting here in a group of Mount Vernon people. That's how we work. We haven't been together in a long, I go back to kindergarten with Eddie. I go back to at least 7th grade with Al. So, and Pete, who fell off somewhere on the call. But
But wait, hold on, wait,
But
Mayor.
Al, I'm gonna say that.
Mayor, what you said? You said
I feel
800.
like we at the lunch table, Al, with Canute.
Mayor, hold on. Listen, we looking for $800 million. Do we need $800 million? You said, listen, Pete Rock gets $800 million a record. So let's borrow from Peter and we'll pay him back.
Yes, we'll borrow, we're going to borrow from Peter. But I'm going to say this. So Al, like you said, we learn from our losses and we take our losses and we turn them into gains and wins. But we also learn from being patient and sitting back on the sidelines sometime until it's our time to step up and perform. And Al, I must say, I remember you were on the varsity football team and you were not necessarily first string, but when it was time for you to be called into the game, when it was time for you to step up, you'd stood on the sidelines long enough to watch the opposition, to kind of figure out who was who and what was what. And when it was time for you to step on that field and start calling the audibles and calling the plays and moving the ball down the field, you were prepared. Everybody wants to be an overnight and an instant superstar, and anything worth waiting, worth getting is worth waiting for. And so you have to put in your time, you have to plan, and you have to prepare. And yes, you have to build your confidence, but that's what we learn. We learn how to wait, we learn how to prepare, we learn how to lose, we learn how to fail, we learn how to get back up, and we learn how to be honest about our struggles so that we can encourage someone else. And I'm gonna stop it right there, and I'm gonna pull Ms. Watson back in because she has been patient with us. Yes, sis.
Geez. Let me just say that I feel the Mount Vernon vibe. I'm a girl from White Plains, New York, but I'm feeling this Mount Vernon vibe right now. You all are a tough crowd. It was wonderful. I loved everything that I heard. There was one thing that Eddie said that resonates, and that is, we have to figure out a way, Mayor, to marry COVID with the census. We're going to have a lot of traffic coming into the health center for COVID testing. There might be a way to marry it with the census, get folks. And Janelle, is it? Jamila? Yes, thank you very much for completing your census. But Mayor, let's talk about a way to marry it. And let's also talk about best practices. What have other cities that look like Mount Vernon done throughout the United States to get it done, right? To get the census completed. So we should talk about that also. Closing thoughts. Vernon Neighborhood Health Center has been in the community for a lifetime. And we've been there through thick and through thin. And we're gonna get through COVID. We got through HIV/AIDS. We got through substance use, right? And we're dealing with that right now because everyone forget that substance use disorder was big before. It's like there was nothing before COVID, right? There's so many things that we've been dealing with, but we were here all along. We're here now, and we're going to continue to be here. This is just a stepping stone. And my takeaway from everything, there are lots of takeaways, but one of the takeaways is this is a renaissance, right? This is a renaissance for us. It's a new beginning, right? So let's come together. Let's take advantage of this opportunity and let's make it good for the people of Mount Vernon. So years to come, there'll be another panel of folks younger than us, because I'm class of '86 also, for the record. There'll be a panel that looks just like us. And the problems we're dealing with today, they'd be like, check, they took care of that.
And so Eddie was supposed to be class of '86, but he got skipped. I chose to stay in my grade. He got skipped in what, second grade, right, Eddie?
No, when we were in kindergarten. When we were in kindergarten, okay. And they took me out. We went to first grade. Okay. I don't know what was happening. One day I just went to first grade.
He went to first grade. So Eddie was supposed to be the class of '86, but he was the class of '85 because he was skipped, and that's why he has that CTO next to his name. That doesn't stand for some type of engineer, rapper or music person. That stands for the Chief Technology Officer. So you were always smart. You're smart now. You were always thoughtful, and you're still that. And so my ask to everyone before we get off this live right here, because we're going to get this recorded live, is, we're reconnecting. Mount Vernon has a lot of needs, but more than the needs we have such great potential. And it's time to stop talking about our potential and realize our potential. And the only way that we can realize our potential is if we all come together and make this thing happen. And so I want us to use our collective passions, our collective talents, our collective resources, and even our collective frustrations to come together and put our hands to the grind and do what we have to do to transform this community. I've told people like this, Mount Vernon is a perfect petri dish. A petri dish doesn't just grow something that's bad, it grows things that are good. We are a nice, small community that is densely populated, that has all of the urban challenges and potentials as other communities that are much larger. And so if we can develop some best practices here in this community, these are best practices that can be scaled up for Baltimore and DC and LA and any large community, and they can be scaled down for towns and villages. And so I'm asking for my old classmates and some of my new friends to come on together and work with me. I can't do this by myself. I never intended to do it by myself. And if we do it together, we're going to win together. So Eddie, you said it would be great to do some webinars. You know, if you're ready, you have all this technology. If you want to get together and do a census presentation, you know, we can do some Wednesday wisdom or whatever. We can find a sexy little name for it, pick a night and have a series where we're bringing some of our Mount Vernon legends and our Mount Vernon servants who are still living here locally and from all around the country to come. And if we promote it, and I know Jamila and them are going to help us with that, then we can really create something new that will not only serve our community, but will serve communities around the country that look like us, that are challenged like us, but who have the potential to build and rise like us. So let's do that together.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do that.
Mount Vernon made over there. Al, I'm loving your glasses.
Come on,
It's
man.
always that dude.
Hold up. It never stops. It's from the courtyard to, you know, and hold up. And just so you know, also too, so Eddie and I are neighbors. So Eddie's in Houston. I'm actually in Dallas at the corporate office in Dallas because our godfather, Mr. Tom Joyner, retired. So we took over all the syndicated radio around the country. So Ricky Smiley does the syndicated morning for Urban One, Russ Parr, then you got Dio Hughley, and I do the night show. So I'm going to continue. But what I want to do, Mayor, what I want to start with today when we jump off, I'm going to call my tech person and I'm going to have them implement to put the Mount Vernon, the website, your website, a direct link. And then every time I go live, there's people from all over the world, but obviously a lot of people from Mount Vernon. I'm going to make sure I provide that information. So thank you for providing the link. I'm going to put it right at the top above the CDC site. I'm going to put it right. So all they do is click on it. You're going to click on it and it's going to provide them. It's going to provide them with all the information related to the unemployment. I mean, all the stuff. So I'm going to look for that stuff and I'm going to make sure that I take care of it. So by tomorrow, if you visit albyshaw.net, you will see the link to your, to our, excuse me, I said your, like I'm from New Rochelle.
Maroon and gold, maroon and gold, maroon and gold.
Maroon and gold. Mount Vernon Knights, you already know. But no, I'm gonna make sure I provide that information because that is so significant. And first of all, thank you. And I want to say this to everybody before we close. I applaud you. This is nothing you could have expected. God bless you. Mm-hmm. This is a new administration. This is you. You know, like my friend,
Don't
my
make
classmate.
me cry, Al. Come on.
No, but listen, let it out if you have to, because I'm gonna tell you something that's so significant to me, man. Listen, like you take on this new endeavor because you just want to help the people. You want to help the people that you grew up with, that you're part of the community. This is you. You just want to help you, and the people are our family. And then you get hit with this. So listen to me, Mayor. And I'm saying this respectfully, so forgive me raising my voice, because I'm not raising my voice at you, but I'm raising my voice because I'm excited, I'm passionate. But Mayor,
that's right.
When we can get through this, if you don't run for president, I'm hanging up and getting off
the Zoom. Yes, I agree. Yeah.
You better stop playing with me. Mount Vernon for life. You already listen.
So I'm gonna tell you.
Hold up. And Mayor, and I'm putting this on. I'm putting this on. You already know. You already know. The real people know what it is. I'm putting that on Kim right now. So it is what it is. We love you. We appreciate you. We not only admire you, we appreciate you. We love you. We thank you. But like, who wants to take that responsibility? Like Eddie, who wants to take that responsibility? Pete, who wants to take that responsibility? Are you kidding me? And then all of a sudden this hits, and now my administration is responsible for something with no blueprint.
Yeah.
Now I got to figure this out. I thought I was just coming in to make sure, the budgets are right. We're going to build new housing. I got to deal with global pandemic.
Right.
So we admire you. We got your back. We got your back, Mayor. We have your back.
That's right.
And we are going to continue to have your back. We'll have an offline conversation as well. Bravo, stop playing. Write some lyrics about this. King, listen, so forgive me. I'm an artist about everything. I'm passionate.
Yes.
But we're so proud of you, Mayor. We're so proud of you, Mayor.
Yes.
Can we applaud the mayor
I
right
have
now?
to give
I
a
need
shout out.
Yes.
Thank you guys. Like I said, this has not been me by myself. There is an incredible team, all of our commissioners, all of our deputy commissioners, our frontline staff, up and down and straight across departments. But I have to let you know that I have not led this effort. Actually, this effort has been led by Mr. Rob Odendo. He was a fire captain, and we jumped him from captain to chief of operations.
Mayor,
and then a month and a half later,
you ain't giving us.
Well, you muted yourself. Unmute yourself. Yeah, you were muted. We didn't hear half of what you said. And so he's the incident command. He's the incident command for this, and really helped to develop the framework for how we were going to respond. And then all of our commissioners and all of our staff and so many of our partners jumped in. So, I would be an ingrate if I tried to take credit for arriving where we are today by myself. And it's not a path and a journey that I can take forward by myself. And so I'm not going to stand and take this applause by myself. There are so many people who have put into this. We've had to go down to Chinatown. We've had to go over to New Jersey and find masks and personal protective equipment because it was just hard and they were in short supply, and when we find things, we share them with some of our partners. So this hasn't been easy to see your team, to see your staff become positive, to not know what this disease is going to take. I just got a text from one of our fire lieutenant's sisters saying that he is coming out of the hospital tomorrow after several weeks in the hospital on oxygen. He went to school with many of us, and he's going to come out with an oxygen tank. This is serious. So, we've lost many friends, and we have some other friends and many friends whose lives might be forever changed by this and still live. And we'll have some who will come and get through it smoothly. But it's a big thing. It's a big thing. And I'm grateful that I didn't have to deal with this alone, but that people were willing to step up and step out of their traditional roles, and us all learn together. This is unprecedented. And we went from talking about we're taking abundance of caution to social distancing. We have so many new words in our vocabulary. And when we come out of this, it's going to be a new normal. It's going to be a new normal, but we're going to get through it together. And I'm just glad that tonight we added to our team. And I look forward to doing this together with you guys as we go forth. Chief, do you have anything to say to close us out?
My only, well, two things. One, to your point, I know the mayor says it's a lot, and you talk about expanding capacity. And so this opportunity here with all this esteemed, your esteemed panel here is doing just that. Eddie, Al, Priscilla, Judy Watson, Jamila, and Pete. We've just expanded capacity in that regard. The other takeaway is kind of to, I think, Ed's point, or actually it was Al's point, that we don't have and we didn't have a blueprint. And we talk about working in uncertainty and with tremendous anxiety and not having a time frame or any real idea of, even where this, Eddie talked about a fire that you can't see. This is something, that we've never dealt with before. And so trying to wrap your head around that. But the great thing about this is the opportunity that comes out of this, that we will now have a blueprint going forward, and not just to handle pandemics, but to handle crises as they present themselves to Mount Vernon, because of the fact that we've been empowered to work as a team and to utilize the different resources in the city, working across borders and silos, as again the mayor talks about, and expanding that capacity. So I'm, as trying as this time is on the department and on the city, I'm also looking at it as a tremendous opportunity for growth and for development. And we will come out on the other side of this better. So I appreciate that opportunity.
So
I'm sorry, Mayor. It takes the right leader. No coincidences, none. This was the exact pandemic that was going to occur at this exact time that required the exact leadership that you will be providing to take us through. So Godspeed to you.
amen. To God be the glory. And I'm gonna always give it back to him. Thank you. Thank you so much. So I just want to say, Sunday, we have Sundays with Sean at 8 p.m. We will have our Westchester County District Attorney, Anthony Scarpino, on from 8 to 8:30, followed by Mimi Roca, who is also running for Westchester County DA. So we are going to have an exciting conversation on Sunday. It's very important. On Friday night from 7 to 9 p.m. Hold on one second. Let me go. On Friday night from 7 to 9 p.m., we're going to have DJ Sean, not me, but DJ Sean on Facebook Live. And this is Sean Boss Marshall. And he is going to be sharing some music. And this is part of our census promotion. We get our DJs on here and they pull their crowd on and we talk about the census and they DJ. And then from 9 to 11 p.m., we're going to have our DJ hype. So we're trying to bring, different segments of our community in so that they can share some music and bring their crowds in and we can promote and push the census. We're trying to do different things. These were people who we would have probably used for live parties and live gatherings to pull the people in the community out. And get them to do their census and push the information on them. But since we can't come together publicly, we are learning from, we're learning from others how to use this social media to promote what we need to get done here in the city of Mount Vernon. So please join us. Also tomorrow night at 7 p.m., there's going to be an opportunity for everyone to join us. We're going to do this every Friday. We're going to clap at 7 p.m. Just walk out from wherever you are and clap publicly for our healthcare workers, our first responders, our essential workers. We're just asking that you open up the door and clap because our first responders, our healthcare workers, our essential workers, and our community, we just need an opportunity to celebrate, to give recognition, and to strengthen those who are out there doing the work so that we can stay home. So please join us. And if anyone wants to volunteer, we're going to need some volunteers so that we could expand our capacity to provide testing at the Mount Vernon Neighborhood Health Center. We'd like to be able to expand the program to a 7-day-a-week operation, or so if you're interested in volunteering and helping us do testing on Saturdays and Sundays at the Neighborhood Health Center, they can call 914-699-7200. Yeah, see, I know all of me, all these years, the health center, 914-699-7200 if you're interested in volunteering. The state and the Mount Vernon Neighborhood Health Center and the city have come together and taken on providing resources on Monday through Friday from 9 to 5, but we know we have a lot of people who need to be tested and who want to be tested, and we want to be able to provide that opportunity. And so in order to do this, we're going to need some volunteers. And so please, if you're interested, reach out to Ms. Judith Watson at the Mount Vernon Neighborhood Health Center at 914-699
7200. And as we've always said in the YMCA, we could do better together, and I'm still a Y girl. But my favorite African proverb is, when spider webs unite, we could tie up a lion. And so individually, we often feel insignificant and that we could be easily broken, but when spider webs unite, we could tie up a lion. And so whether it's poverty, COVID, low census numbers, mental health, substance abuse, violence, crime, or anything that's been plaguing our community, when we come together, we got this, Mount Vernon. Love you guys. Have a good night. And thank you all for coming on. And we're going to be linking up after that. Let's do it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Where'd Pete go? Where'd Pete go?